which is great. He's a great dude. You can see the angle here. And I'll come off camera and I'll push that. Okay. All right, you're good. Click it. All right. Michael, United Veterans Worldwide, finishing up a workout and about to start my morning walk with my weighted vest. Today will be a little bit of an experiment, as I'll be trying some new shoes I just got. These are Merrell's. They are waterproof. They've got a Vibram sole, and I want to break these in so that I can take them on my hike next week into the Uinta Mountains with my son and a bunch of other young men and their dads. They're waterproof. I hope they hold up well, so as I'm walking today with the weighted vest, this is what I'll be wearing, and breaking them in hopefully so that I don't get blisters on this hike. All right, let me set my watch. I will call this an outdoor walk. Doesn't do it justice for how much I'm wearing. But let's get the camera right and go. All right, so on today's walk, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I went into the military in the first place. I joined the United States Navy in 1999. I came home from college one day. It was my first semester of college. after I returned from a 2-year mission in Canada for my church. I was sitting on the couch one day watching television, and oh, that's cute. I felt a trickle of rain. We don't often get rain in the summertime. It's trying to rain. I think it's cute. Sitting on the couch watching a show during the middle of my school day, about to go back to class, and a Navy commercial came on showing Navy SEALs and a bunch of other hoorah guys doing some cool stuff. And I totally felt something inside of my heart prompt me to go into the Navy. And my father was in the Air Force and did 8 years. And I have an almost unbroken chain of military going back pre-Revolutionary War in the United States, back to Britain as the commandant of the military there in the 1700s. So I knew of a strong military history, but I didn't necessarily know that I was going to do that. And anyway, I felt that inspiration. And a week later, I decided to follow that inspiration, and I went to a recruiting station, and I talked to the Marines, and I liked their message. Went down a little further and talked to the Navy, and they were very aggressive, which I appreciated because I was so lost on what I was supposed to be doing, what was right. And they had me take a test that day, and I took a test. And the first test I took was the ASVAB, and I scored really well. Not well enough to do what some of my other friends would eventually end up doing, nuclear subs, but I scored well enough. And they said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "You know, I love medicine. I grew up with a mom who was sick, had heart murmurs and other issues, and I wanted to help people. I wanted to make a difference." And so he said, why not look at being a Navy corpsman? And I said, "Well, what's a Navy corpsman?" And he said, "It's only nearly the most decorated position in the Navy at the time for people who were saving the lives of Marines and Navy in combat in World War II." And that was enough said for me. I said, "Yeah, that's what I need to do." So I went into their station a couple days later, signed the papers, and within a week, I was on my way to boot camp. So if any of you have ever wondered what it's like to join the military, I'll give you my first impressions. And if any of you who are watching this channel have had your own experiences, I'd welcome you to share some of those comments in the comments section. And if you have a really, really great story, please reach out to me separately, and maybe I'll get you on the channel and we'll get you to share that experience. But how it worked was essentially I had a plane ticket. I was supposed to meet up at a MEP station. That was like a mobilization area. And we were bused to the airport. There were probably 15 people with me at the time, maybe. And this is in 1999. This is before everything in our world totally changed. And got to the airport. We really didn't talk a whole lot to each other, amongst each other. And it was a scary experience if I didn't know already that it was something that I needed to do. As I walk through my neighborhood, I always get stares, people wondering what I'm doing with this selfie stick. But got on the plane to Chicago, landed in Chicago, and met up with 40, 50 people. We didn't know each other. We didn't know how it was all going to go down. People were nervously making jokes and being pretty immature. I mean, like, I was older. I was 20, maybe I was almost 22, 21, 22. And a lot of the guys were right out of high school. And we got on our flight, landed in Chicago, took another bus to the Naval Training Center, the Naval Boot Camp in northern Chicago. And we got there really, really late. I mean, it might have been 1 or 2 a.m., completely dark. I started to fall asleep on the bus ride from the airport to the boot camp. We pulled through the gates, and then it all started. 10, 15, I don't know how many they were, drill instructors ran onto the bus and just started screaming, "Get off the bus, get off the bus." It was a high stress environment. They pushed us into this big building, had us remove our clothes and get into a Navy uniform, and put us through a couple of education classes that first day, and then brought us into our sleeping area. They gave us our bedding, and the journey started. I remember that first night finally laying down and looking at the clock before I went to bed and saying, they're gonna give us 3 hours of sleep before we have to wake up and get started for the day. And that's how it went. I laid there and I was on the top bunk, and I asked the question, like, what am I doing? What did I just do? My life was no longer my own. You see, in the military training, and some of you will agree, is they want to break you down and standardize you. I had guys from every different background, race, religion. Some people came in with money, other people came in living in an inner city, struggling with money, broken homes. Like we had everything you could think of. But one of the great things that I believe united us in the military was we had a diverse group, and I loved it. It's like making food without salt and pepper and seasoning. How it would never taste good. The military had the seasoning that we needed. I was friends with guys that were black, brown, Asian, Hispanic, couple of African guys who had immigrated, a couple of people who hardly spoke any English, mostly Spanish, but it provided a perfect environment for us all to be standardized in the way we trained, the way we thought, worked together, and I loved the experience. As hard as it was, Navy boot camp wasn't as physical as what I will describe later with training with the Marines and the Army, but it was mentally challenging. They would do drills where we had to stand for a long period of time at attention and have to refocus our minds around things that added value to our experiences. So we would stand at attention, not moving, and have to do that for several hours, not lock our knees, or guys would pass out, and they did. But it was a great experience for a young guy who was not married, who had an adventure waiting for him, and it was an adventure. So if any of you are considering joining the military in any form or shape, reach out and ask me some questions. It is the adventure of a lifetime. No, it's not always great. Combat is not fun. You can have moments, but anytime there's human suffering, I would never call that fun. But it's essential. If we lived in a world that was everybody could get along, there was no racism, there was no division for religious beliefs, there was no division for political ideologies, we could all just decide that we wanted to be in peace. What a great world this would be with all of our unique contributions. While I left the military in 2015 with some trauma, with some chronic injuries, I go back to that first experience that I had where I felt inspired to go into the military. And with all that I ended up going through, I still look back and I can smile and say it was the right thing to do for me. So I know that it's not easy. I know that it requires an extra amount of courage and discipline that I hopefully still employ today. But if you're considering, take the leap. For those of you who have served and can experience like I can experience and say it was great to serve your country, whatever country that might be, I salute you. My hat's off to you. Well done. I wanted to share this experience this morning. I was really excited when I woke up to do so because if we look at a trajectory of someone's life, my life, I was on a path, and then it took me on a different path that made my life so rich and full, and full of tough experiences, but good experiences. You know, when we talk about what shapes us, the easy life is not a shaper. If I just take an easy life and I don't work out, I don't get physically fit, my body starts to deteriorate. My chronic injuries exaggerate, and it becomes more challenging of a life. So get out today, do something hard, check that box, get a win. Thanks for following this channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as I finish up this walk this morning with these cute clouds that aren't gonna actually put rain on the ground here, get something done today. Check that box. These shoes, by the way, they came through. It was good. I felt comfortable in them. I'm not wearing the right socks, but I think if I put some heavier socks on, it's going to be a good experience walking with these next week. All right, thanks. Have a great day.